Welcome back to Toronto Speaks Legal Advice. I'm your host, Natalka Falcomer. We are joined today by family lawyer Andrew Feldstein. And before the break, we were discussing your rights and how to avoid legal, emotional, and financial mistakes when getting married, divorced, or separated. Again, thank you so much to our callers at home. We do have some more that are patiently waiting for us. If you're ready to go back into it, I am.
Sure.
All right, great. Hillary, how can we help you?
Oh.
Hi, Hillary.
Hi.
How can we help?
Hi, Andrew Feldstein. Thank you for taking my call. I was legally separated last February, and everything's been fine. I'm receiving alimony support payments as per the agreement. However, I have not received the pension portion that I am entitled to. And I just don't want to go back to my lawyer and incur extra costs to go back and secure those that pension that's entitled to me. How do I go about that?
Good question, Hillary.
Well,
Andrew, go ahead.
Did your husband refuse to fill out the forms to transfer part of his pension over to you?
Well, he was supposed to do that per the agreement, but he hasn't done that.
Okay. Well, I would start by sending him an email telling him that he needs to do it, or else you're going to have to hire your lawyer again, regrettably, but this time you're going to be seeking costs against him. And if it's in an agreement and he hasn't done it and you have to hire a lawyer to enforce it, you should be getting some or close to all of your costs back because he has no business refusing to do that.
That's an excellent approach. So first of all, start amicably saying, did you do this? And then following that, say, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to be able to get my lawyer and you're going to have to pay for that.
Yes, and if you have the forms that he needs to fill out, send him the forms and ask him to sign it.
Hillary, does that help answer your question?
Well, I've gone that route, and it hasn't helped. I've been amicable. I've been approaching him, short of just bringing him the forms with, I don't have the account information to be able to put it all down on the form. But short of doing that, I have been approaching him and several times over the last 6 months, and nothing.
Then it sounds like he's not serious about doing it, and you probably will need to hire your lawyer again for it. But quite frankly, the first go-around for you probably had a lot more issues, was a lot more contested, and you had to spend more money. This is a much more narrow issue that is an easy win for you.
So I think that, Hillary, the best approach is, and what you should be keeping in mind too, is that potentially some of the costs of, I know you didn't want to incur the cost of that lawyer, but could be compensated for or covered by your ex for not doing what he's supposed to do if it's in a contract and he was supposed to do it. Does that help answer your question, Hillary?
Absolutely, yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hillary. Best of luck. And remember, again, your costs should be covered. And next we have Joe on the line. Joe, how can we help?
Oh, hi, good evening. I was in a common law relationship and we've separated. We have we've kind of done everything without a lawyer and I guess we're having some disagreements on support and things like that. What do you think about mediation? Where is that something that's available? I want to be able to do that where we can sit down and kind of hash things out without having to go full-fledged into a courtroom setting. What do you think about that, and are there people or places available to do things like that?
Joe, that's a fantastic question, especially since we even get a chance to talk about it, but going the road of more of a collaborative approach is something that can be beneficial for you both. So Joe is separated. Let's go down that path.
Mediation is an excellent path to go down. You can go to mediation without lawyers. You can go to mediation with lawyers. You will need to be screened for domestic violence to make sure there's no power imbalance that would be inappropriate for the two of you to be at mediation. And if you do go down that path, for example, I do that kind of mediation with clients, you will and you should have a lawyer at the end of the day. So the objective is to go to mediation to get the basis of a resolution. Then one of the lawyers drafts an agreement and the other lawyer reviews it and the parties sign up the agreement. And that way it avoids any issues that will be contested. But one thing you did say there is, if I hire a lawyer, it means you go to court. And that's actually not true. most family law lawyers try to negotiate a resolution of the matter without going to court. So just because you hire a lawyer doesn't mean you're in court.
So where can Joe go in order to get some more information as to where he can physically meet this person? Do you have anything on your website with respect to mediation, in particular, the steps he has to go through?
We have information on what mediation is, explaining mediation and explaining our mediation services. So a lawyer is one option, and you can also Google mediation and see what lawyers or non-lawyers are out there that do mediation for family law disputes. I usually say to my clients, if the issue is about working out a schedule, a social worker may be better than a lawyer to do the mediation regarding parenting issues. But if you're dealing with the financial issues, I would say to people you should hire a lawyer as your mediator because they appreciate and fully understand mediation much better than a non-lawyer will.
And the difference between, for Joe, arbitration, mediation, what's the difference between the two? And is it always binding as well?
Well, mediation is you need to reach an agreement with consensus, and nobody can force a deal on you at mediation. You're free to get up, walk out, and say you're a wingnut. I don't care what you have to say. If you go down the road of arbitration, you're actually hiring your judge, who will be empowered to make a decision and impose that decision on you, which is only subject to certain appeal rights in front of a court.
Joe, does that help answer your question? Best to Google, but also visit Andrew's website as well, which will provide some information as far as mediation and what you should be doing to prepare. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Best of luck, and I commend you for going down a more positive route, if you will, because I find that when you go at it and there's a lot of emotion involved, and particularly in family law, it almost more clouds rather than anything else.
Well, the reality is conflict is something that will lead its way to the kids. The kids will see that mom and dad are stressed. The kids will pick up on the conflict, and there's a lot of data that says the kids' development gets impacted in high conflict cases. And if you can avoid that conflict for your children, that's in their best interest.
That's a good ruling. That's a ruling thumb, I think. Avoid the conflict and look for more positive ways of approaching it, because the more you fight, the richer they make us, right?
The richer they make us, but it hurts the children, and that's really
true.
The sad part. You got to focus on loving your children more than you hate your former spouse.
That's a good point to leave off on tonight. Of course, thank you to our viewers at home, but that is all the time we do have today. It was great speaking with you, of course, to our callers and to our guest, Andrew Feldstein. I also want to thank all of the viewers and callers today for their questions and comments. Remember, know your rights. And if you don't, then watch us next time to get free legal information. After all, the best things in life are free. I'm your host, Natalka Falcomer, and thank you for watching Toronto Speaks Legal Advice.